you feel like you're puking up that colon prep or it's just not cleaning out, we got some work to do. Hold on to the hope that you're going to get through this successfully. Tomorrow morning, you will have a colonoscopy and we will work together to prevent colon cancer. We're going to go through some tips and tricks on how to do that. Hi, I'm Mark Cooper, board certified gastroenterologist. If you want more information about a colonoscopy, check out the links below. But we're here now because you're having trouble prepping, and we're going to work through that with these 5 tips. The first tip's a real simple one, and that is to just mentally conquer this task by breaking it up into a series of smaller tasks. Rather than facing that hurdle of this huge bottle of prep, pour it into 8 separate glasses, and that way you know that you can just knock these off one by one. The next tip is also pretty simple, and that is to just chill the prep. Tends to taste much better. And that's because things that are in our taste bud that are cold, we don't taste them quite as much. So the icky taste that people don't like is less pronounced. Make it feel fancy. Put some ice in a champagne bucket and rest your prep on that ice. Then pour it into champagne flutes. Now you probably will need more than 8. Try 24. Our next tip comes courtesy of a pro chef that I happen to scope. He said that it was very helpful to contrast the taste. So when you have that sweet, salty taste of the colon prep, contrast that with a sour taste. You could get a sour candy, you could get a lemon, or you could also try a hot broth. Any of these are something that will give a different taste than that overwhelming sweet, salty taste. Gives you something either sour or something savory, and that will help to contrast and make it easier to proceed. One caveat, please don't have a red or purple candy, as we don't like seeing those colors in your colon. They suggest blood. My next tip is for people who simply can't tolerate the prep that we've prescribed, and you need to make your own over-the-counter prep. You're going to need to get Dulcolax, and that's an effective laxative, as well as a 238-gram bucket of Miralax and a 64-ounce sports drink. What we're going to do is take 4 Dulcolax tablets with an 8-ounce glass of water to get everything started. And you're going to do that in the late afternoon before your prep. Now, get the sports drink or Crystal Light. Just please ensure that they're not purple or red. Mix that with 238 grams of Miralax. Stir them up really well. Please don't blend them and create a froth. And then consume that, breaking it up like I previously described. You're going to be doing an 8-ounce glass every 15-30 minutes and proceed through that until you've finished. Now, another thing that may make this at-home prep easier is to split it up. And the way to do that is to do your first 32 ounces the evening before and the second 32 ounces the morning before your procedure. Now, the question becomes, when do you need to do that second part? You want to allow enough time for the prep to actually clear you out, and that takes about 4 hours. That permits time for the prep to course through your stomach and small bowel and actually reach the colon and give it the cleaning out. So if you're having your procedure around 9 a.m., that means you need to have finished it before 5 a.m. We're going to be doing about 32 ounces of this split prep, and you should be aiming to complete that over the course of an hour. So that means you have to wake up at 4 a.m. and start chugging prep again. So that's pretty early, but that does help get an effective clean out. In fact, not only does that make it easier for you, but that typically makes it better for us because it means any contents that you've developed overnight. Remember, we're always making bile and gastric juices, small bowel juices, and all those are dumping into your colon through the night. So when you do a split prep, you get a second washout right before your procedure, and it makes for a much better exam. Also with this timing, it's important that you have strictly nothing by mouth 2 hours prior to the procedure. Again, we're trying to finish this 4 hours before the procedure, so you should meet that deadline. But if you push a little bit over that, it's still going to be effective. The safety concern here is that we don't want anything resting in your stomach because when you go to sleep for the procedure, that could become something that you vomit back up. So we want to allow at least 2 hours of strictly nothing by mouth to ensure a safe procedure. If you're prone to nausea, hopefully you discuss that with your doctor ahead of time and you've been given some sort of prescription like Zofran. But if you don't have the luxury of prescription medication, how can you tackle that nausea that the prep may induce? Well, for one, I would say just slow the prep down a little bit. There's no traffic cop here watching and make sure you maintain a minimum speed limit of how quickly you drink. So you can always slow it down a little, have smaller sips, and that may help you get over that nausea and through the prep. If you need an over-the-counter medication, there's some medications that you can consider, of course with a caveat that these shouldn't be something you're allergic to or have had other prior bad experience with. Unisom or doxylamine and a B6 are an effective combination for treating nausea in pregnancy, and they can work here too. Another option is Benadryl or Dramamine, which is commonly used for motion sickness. All of these medications can have sedating effects, and therefore they should not be used in combination, but you may find that they help treat your nausea, and those are in consideration if it's a late hour and you're really struggling with this. If you arrive at the endoscopy suite and you feel like you still have not successfully cleaned out, a nurse will often be able to administer you an enema, to see if we can get a clean result. When we're doing the colonoscopy, it is so helpful to have a cleaned out colon because that ensures us the best opportunity to find polyps and prevent colon cancer. I want to thank you for the effort you're putting into your colonoscopy prep, and thank you for finding these tips. Hope they're helpful to you. If you want to learn more about colonoscopy, check out the playlist, which will go into more common questions that people have about colonoscopy. Thank you and be safe.